Yeah. Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game played on Chemical Duel. Today we've got Seb playing 2nd Panzergren, and he's going up against Berthags playing 20th Polish. So we'll talk about the decks, the deck reviews, then the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game, and as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so this is the deck review for Seb, and he's playing 2nd Panzergren. He's built it pretty similarly to how I've built mine, so there'll be a lot of agreeing going on, as opposed to reviewing. I'll just be talking about how good an idea what he's been doing is. So like this is mine, for example, very similar in a lot of ways. But yeah, let's go through it tab by tab, right? So first thing, 2 cards of supply. I do think that in a 40-minute game with this div, which it almost always is, kind of want 3 cards of supply. So we'll see if we can find a 3rd card of supply for him. It's just you've got this heavy arty firing, you've got heavy tanks, right? You've got lots of infantry to repair and so on. So I think that's worth noting. Then, in terms of the supply options, right? So you've got cheap trucks or cheap tracked, which does carry more, but it's slower, so I prefer the cheap trucks. And then the expensive truck or the expensive helicopter. In 1v1, the expensive truck's more useful, because not only is it actually cheaper, it's just less likely to die, whereas the helicopter gets spotted quite easily. In a big team game, the helicopter's more useful. Or if you're running 3 cards of supply, or like a fob or something, it can be useful to have the helicopter. Just trying to get this exactly right. It never is. It never is. I need exactly 2 buttons showing for my autism. Anyway, infantry tabs. Yeah, the deal with this div is that you spam Marder 1A3 Milan, and there's not. There could be more Marder 1A3 Milan in here, really. 18 you might run out. I know it sounds ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, basically, there's a lot of planes here. I think that's where it's all going. Also a lot of tanks. I mean, it just depends how you want to play it. I play it with more infantry. This is a 2-point slot, which is interesting. So yeah, there could be more infantry. So like these guys, the fact that they come in a truck is pretty silly. Don't really think they should. But essentially, this is 35 points for DMR, which is like 2 machine guns. That's like 3 machine guns, which is like 6 rifles. So it's 35 points for the strength of 10 men. So if people want wheeled infantry to spam out a town or something, they bring the Panzer Grenadier. What I will say is that if you want to spam out a town or something, you've got the Pioneers, which honestly between these 2 vehicles, I actually really like the Fox because it's faster than the Unimog. And it's got smoke. The smoke really makes it. It can survive. Like, if you're going straight into a town or something, it can survive. Then you can use it to go around the sides and shoot people. I prefer it. And it's a lot faster off-road. I do like it a lot. So try it. Let me know what you think, you know? I prefer it. But yeah, if you want to run into a town with some infantry, you've got the Pioneers and you've got the FS Jaeger. So I think that this should be more Marder 1A3 Milans, personally. I mean, it's a personal choice, right? If you want additional truck infantry past the 11 plus 6 is 17, quick maths. Truck infantry, you know, and these guys, right? But we'll talk about that. So that's personally, I'd be bringing more Panzer Grenadiers. And then, yeah, so this is forward deployed Milan 2, and the reason you bring this, not only is it forward deployed, but it's also got 1 rank of veterancy with no availability loss over these guys. So like if you wanted this at 1 vet, which you don't want to up vet it anyway, really, you would lose 2 availability, but these guys get it for free, so they get the 55% accuracy with the same availability for 5 points more, and forward deployment. Then forward deployed wheeled CVs, so if you want a forward deployed CV, that's basically your only choice. So it is useful. I use these when I play 2nd Panzer in team games. I won a 2v2 tournament recently with this division in the finals. And you do have to build it a bit differently for team. But yeah, I was bringing these so that I could secure points faster. Yeah, so like what else to say? Pioneer Carl Gustavs are alright, but if you've got FS Jaeger and Pioneers... So FS Jaeger aren't that cost effective. The point is that they've got this Panzerfaust 3, which is really useful. and they're forward deployed. This is at 90 though, which is worth noting. Artillery, so I bring these as well. I bring 2 of these. I've seen people, you know, they'll bring 1 card of this, for example, or they'll say, I want to save money, I'm going to bring this one, because this for 140, because you got to keep the transport, is better than the M109, right? It fires faster, and it's cheaper, but yeah, I mean, you can bring 4 of these if you want to spend all game microing 4 of these, but these are really effective, and if you use 2 M110s with corrected shot, you can basically kill any heavy tank. I've killed T-80UDs and so on, because it's done off the top armor, and 3 is the maximum. So yeah, I really like 2 of these, so I think it's very useful. And then mortars for smoke, and self-propelled mortars beat foot mortars, because foot mortars get counter-batteried more easily. So these get counter-batteried more easily as well, over this one. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you can save yourself some money, and then save yourself 1 unit's worth of money, basically. So you get 1 extra infantry unit, perhaps 1 extra pioneer. I think it's about 75 points you save, and then spend 40 minutes microing howitzers. I really like these. Tank tab, so Jaguar 2 is really good because it's got the TOW 2 and 6 armor, which means it can survive a shot from an enemy tank and then hit them with a TOW 2, smoke and leave. It does die in 1 shot to Honkers, as does the Leopard 2A3 on the side armor, it's worth noting. Then a card of Leopard 1A1s and a card of Leopard 1A5, so I think I run this as well in 1v1. It's just, yeah, you bring these at the start and you bring these a bit later on, and then you swap into these. Yeah, and you mix in Marder 1A3s as you go. Marder 1A3 Milans. And then Leopard 2s. It's very normal to bring 3 cards of Leopard 2s at 1 vet for that. 6 Leopard 2s. So it's pretty incredible capacity for this division to just bring heavy tanks and medium tanks and great IFVs and forward deployment and great artillery and great AA and great air. The helicopters aren't amazing, but they're serviceable. Recon, so this you put with your tanks so your tanks can see. It's a bit superfluous to requirements if you have the looks as well. It just depends what you're going for. So this has exceptional optics, so it can see further, and it's cheaper. The looks has very good optics, and you can use it to go around the side and shoot people because it's got a gun. So yeah, having both can work. It just depends, like, so like that 3rd card of supply isn't there, right? I'm thinking of ways we can get that. These guys, 4 strength recon with a Panzerfaust 3. So if you're playing on something like Black Forest or something, it can be worth having FS-Jäger and FS-Jäger Aufklärer to get that 11 Panzerfaust 3s, but usually you don't really need 11 Panzerfaust 3s, so you can get rid of this one, although this goes at 100 kilometers an hour at the start, which is faster than this, right? Or you can get rid of this one and just run this, right? So it's up to you. Yeah, and then Jäger Aufklärer at no vet, so you can bring loads of them. And basically, these guys work in combat, so you can bring them at 1 vet if you actually want them to work in combat. But the idea is that they've got a lot of HP for a recon unit, which means that they don't die very fast while they're running across a field to spot units while your tanks are all behind shooting the enemy recon and so on. So that's the advantage of them, really. And so you don't really need that 1 vet unless you really do want to use them in combat. Recon helos are pretty useful. But yeah, I think this is all good, really. But if you want that 3rd card of supply, I'd... Oof, okay, I see. No, it is a 2. Yeah, there you go. Well, problem solved, right? So yeah, if you can do without either the Racist or the FS-Jäger Aufklärer, that would be a great way to get that 3rd card of supply. If you need a 3rd card of supply, if you don't, then don't bother, right? So this is how I used to run it as well. I Hawk Gepard as Villinger. So there's Villinger's really effective against infantry and serviceable against helicopters. So it is useful in that regard, and it is worth bringing in that regard. So I think this is all good. And then the Gepard goes with your battle blob to shoot helicopters from far away, and it's decent against aircraft. And the Eyehawks are anti-aircraft, and the idea is this deals 9 damage, this deals at least 1 damage, and then you down the enemy plane, and this is just for anti-infantry. What I did find is that there were situations where I wish I had a man pad, But you can get used to just bringing it, because it's got good stealth, right? And this is not such a slow transport. You can literally just, if you need a man pad, you keep the transport with it and then send the transport through the forest or whatever. I mean, yeah. I wish I could bring both, but you are quite slot limited on this division. So yeah, maybe if you don't want that third card of supply, you could get rid of the Racist or the FSA Get Aufklärer and get Flieger fast if you feel like you really need it. But yeah, this is decent against helicopters and so on. So as long as you're careful, you can just use the Gepard. Helis, so yeah, either you bring the Hot 2 or the Hot 1. The Hot 2 deals more damage and has more accuracy, so I prefer to bring the Hot 2. And it does have less availability and costs a bit more, but I think it's worth it. When I want an ATGM healer, I want it to do something. And then air, right? So tornadoes for long-range air interception. These are just helicopter destroyers, so you just chuck it at a helicopter and the helicopter goes away. And then there's a lot of planes here, so Seed for anti-air. And then the Harrier HE2. So for some reason, so these are British Harriers, and the Harriers on first UK got removed, actually. The Harriers on second UK got reduced to 2 availability, whereas the Harriers on second Panzergren remained at 3. I mean, they should all be at 3, really, except the ASF one, which should be at 4. But yeah, this is a very powerful card at the start of the game. I've also seen people bring this one instead, because I mean, it's basically just doing the same thing, except it's cheaper. But this has an extremely powerful payload. It's just this can hit multiple infantry targets. It's useless against vehicles, though. Tornado IDS-AT can work against enemy tanks. I find it quite lackluster, so it tends to miss a lot. And then this is really good against infantry and tanks. So yeah, he's gone air heavy, right? So okay, if you want to go air heavy, you do have to make sacrifices when it comes to your third card of supply, right? And your infantry. So I think that's fair enough, really. I think it can work. I don't really see many problems with it. It's just, if you need that third card of supply, I'd start either here or here. Or, of course, you can start messing with your air tab. Yeah. So, switching to his opponent's deployment, we've got Many Cigarettes, and he's playing 20th Polish. Another meta div. You see 20th Polish a lot. So yeah, we'll go through this tab by tab. So 3 cards of supply for a tank div with lots of RT. Although this is weird. So I think that's good. And then 3 CV cards. So this is tracked, this is wheeled, but only 2 availability, and it's more expensive. The advantage of this, the advantage of the wheeled one is that his other CVs are here, and they're tracked, which means he will be behind on points at the start. Particularly versus a forward deployed div like second Panzergren. Infantry, so BWP1 spam, so these are extremely cost efficient, cost effective. So if you look at the BWP1 and you compare it to the M113A3 Dragon, so for the same price you get 2 more armor, and you get a Grom, which is useful, an ATGM that has more than twice the range, and 2 more pen and more suppression. The accuracy is actually higher because it's done off the maximum range. And it's amphibious, right? And it's got a PKT. So it's just ridiculous, really, how, like, the one on the left needs to be 5 points cheaper, which means that this needs to be 5 points cheaper. And in general, all the APCs need to be 5 points cheaper, essentially. So, yeah, that's why people like bringing them. So you can spam out the BWP ones, and you can certainly do it a lot. Then you get the BWP2s, which are BMP2s. And he's brought those at 1 vet. So that's all very normal. You want most of your infantry to be at 1 vet. Then he's got the Reeses, and he's bringing these in the Scott 2A. So for 5 points more, you get a KPVT instead of a Dushka and a PKT. I personally don't think it's worth it. Well, I don't know, really. I mean, 5 points isn't that much. It does deal more damage. So I mean, it's not a big deal, really. Bring whichever one you want. I probably would bring the Scott 2A if I was asked today. If I was asked on another day, I might bring the Scott too. But the you can buy 3 of these a minute, you can buy 3 of these a minute, so I don't think it makes too much of a difference. And then the Saperzi, who are really good because the Komar's bugged, so it one-shots 2 front armor units, which is a bit silly. and it's got 9 strength. So yeah, Sapezi is a pretty decent unit because it's got satchels and an RPG, and those are at 1 vet. And then he brings the unspeakable one, and he's up vetted it, which I don't really agree with. For the sake, so you don't really need suppression resistance on these guys because they're just gonna die anyway. And for the sake of 5% accuracy, you lose 3 availability. You know, you can get creative with these guys. If you've got 8 of them, you can just sort of send one round the side through the forest, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really agree with upvetting it. He's upvetted this one as well, so sort of same thing I don't really agree with. But having said that, this division is kind of overpowered and you don't really run out of stuff, and so it can be worth upvetting it if you're just not going to bring more than 5 of them, right? If you're never going to bring more than 5 of them, then you should upvet it, because you weren't going to bring more than 5 of them anyway. It's just these easy to die ATGM units don't benefit that much from veterancy. So artillery, so here we've got 2 max vet mortars in the wrong transports, and then 2 Danners at 1 vet. So the Danners at 1 vet I get because it does make them shoot faster. And this is a 2 AP slot, right? And so getting 2 Danners at 1 vet is pretty huge because you can really do a lot of damage with your artillery. This thing is absurdly powerful. And it's practically immune to counter battery if you're paying attention, because it's wheeled, so it displaces really fast, especially if you've got it on a road. 100 kilometers an hour road speed, apparently, not even 90. Right, so that this goes faster than this truck. Anyway, then he's brought two vet mortars, and I don't really get it, to be honest. For starters, they're in the wrong transport. So you want the Scott 2 because it's got armor and it's faster, but it's mainly the armor. And that means that you're going to survive counter battery more often. For the sake of 5 extra points, you're going to survive counter battery because you load it up into the Scott and then you might survive. Whereas the truck might just die to the howitzer round. So I think it should be the Scott 2. And also they're at 2 vet. And I figure the reason he's done this is because this is a 2-point slot, right? So let's go. Then it's at 1 vet. And then now you've saved 2 AP, but where do you put it? Because this is 3, this is 3, this is 3, this is 3, this is 2, right? And this is 2. So what you can do is, here you go, now you've got a wheeled CV as well, great. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can just rock 9 CVs if you want, no shame in it. Or you can get rid of this and replace it with the T55A at 2 vet. Because these at the start of the game are really strong, especially since they up the rate of fire to base 8, which means it's always 9, because you should always be bringing it at 1 vet minimum. They're pretty silly. They fire faster than chieftains. It's incredible how powerful Pact was and how annoyed people get when I point out how ridiculous this game is when it comes to these sorts of things. Anyway, I've been receiving a lot of hate mail over that, actually. A lot of very nasty people about me pointing out how absurd the Pact equipment is in this game. So let's not dwell on it too much because it's getting to me. People say, well, never mind, let's not get into it. So the Malyutka P used to have 16 pen, but then it went up to 17 because Pact isn't allowed to have well, as I said, I wouldn't get into it. It's got good stealth, used to have mediocre, but then it went up to good because Pact isn't. Yeah, anyway, use this to annoy the hell out of people because it fires Malyutkas at them and it's got good stealth, so it's hard to see and it's really fast. So he's brought this at 1 vet because I assume he doesn't intend to bring more than 5 of them. I mean, it's fair enough if you just want to spam T72s all day, right? But I like these a lot, so I bring them at no vet so I can buy 7 of them. And then I don't actually bring this. I'm pretty sure I don't actually bring this. Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. So I down vet this, and then I don't bring this. And there you go, now you can bring more BWP1s, 7, 14. Okay, how about 15 at 2 vet? Not to be sniffed at, right? Or can put a CV in here or something. You can even bring something like this, although it's not got a military police vehicle, so it's not that useful. So yeah, now you've got 15 BWP1s at 2 vet, and you can buy 4 of these a minute. Or you can just have 21 at 1 vet, or you can up vet the first one, or you can up vet the first 2 and down vet the last one, right? I think it's a lot more useful. And there were 5 unspeakable ones here before, and there were 5 Maryutka Ps which have the same pen, because basically this used to deal 16 AP, and then this got upgraded because Pact isn't allowed to have bad equipment, and then this was then different because this still dealt 16 and the other one dealt 17, so then they made this one deal 17 as well. Just yeah, what can I say, I'm looking forward to Broken Arrow, to tell you the truth, just for a change of scenery more than anything else. Get me away from these biased devs and towards some other biased devs who are just Russian, and so they just, yeah, anyway. There's no escaping it. You just got to make your own game, I'm afraid. So there you go. So you've lost 3 ATGMs for the sake of 5 BWP1s, and now they're all at 2 vet. Right? So, the maths doesn't check out too well there. Anyway, this is a coffin launcher. You use it to launch coffins, which, they're very powerful against infantry. Generally, people don't up vet this because it shouldn't be on the front line. But in a 1v1, do you really need 3 coffin launchers? Probably not. 1 is enough, really. But yeah, 2 in case 1 dies, so I can understand up vetting it. Then the T-72M at 2 vet. I mean, alright. It just depends, like, what are you going to spend your points on over the course of this 40-minute game. You'll notice that this div just gets loads and loads and loads of stuff. So it can be worth aggressively up vetting, because you just tend not to run out of stuff. So that's worth talking about. And the difference is that this will get one shot by a 30 AP missile, which is every AT plane in the game, bar 2. And this won't. This will survive it, because these cast holes. The holes were cast, I believe. That might have been the T-72 basic instead of the T-72M. Apparently, yeah, they were just super well armored. It's just incredible how powerful Pact equipment was. That's why it lost in every single war it was fought on. Just always lost. All these T-72s in the desert. It's just the Iraqis, they're just bad. They're just bad gamers. If only brave Polish people had used it, then they would have won. Obviously they didn't win, they lost, but nah, let's not think about that. Anyway, you get lots of tanks. And then the Wilk, which has max range. This is basically like a Challenger 1, except just better. It's faster for starters. Goes backwards faster than a Challenger goes forwards. And it's got that max range gun. Yeah, what can I say? So, yeah, well, good tank, 1 vet, sure. And then the CV one, which we spoke about. I really like these at the start of the game, but the way a lot of people open with this is they do the honker thing, and then behind that are 3 T-72Ms, and then there's no real space for the T-55 in that kind of arrangement if you're opening with 3 T-72Ms, but instead of doing that, you could open 4 T-55As. So I suppose it wouldn't be 5 because you've only got 4. But with the prices, it could be 6 even. So he's made a big mistake here. Basically, Honkers, right, Special Forces unit goes faster the higher the veterancy is. So at least one of these should be at max vet, and because this is 6-4, it should be this one, whereas this is 4-2, right? So you want these at max vet because it makes them go faster. So, I don't know, 4,000 games of Warno, not enough apparently. Needs to watch some Hippie YouTube videos, because I do mention this a lot. So yeah, the higher the vet, the faster the Special Forces go. So you want it at max vet, because then it really is very, very fast. Then these guys are for the ground surveillance radar, I guess. At which point, yeah, you do what you want. And then we've got this, which is at 6 availability, which is big smiles. All the NATO ones are at 4, like the racist you saw before. And but Pact isn't OP though, guys. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so this goes with your tanks. Gives your tanks exceptional optics, 3 armor, unlike the racist, which is 1, right? And it's got smoke as well. And it's got the Grom, so it'll help out in the fights. And because this is heat, it'll basically always engage, no matter what the enemy armor is. But yeah, the main thing is exceptional optics on your tanks with 3 armor, so it doesn't die immediately. Then these are actually really useful A lot of people underestimate 4 PKTs. It's very, very, very strong because of the way it's been modelled. So if you look at something like the FV432 SCAT on Britain, which is a NATO country, and it's 2 medium machine guns side by side, it doesn't deal double damage. It deals like 1.3 times damage, whereas this packed 4 PKTs stands for packed kill time. It just deals 4 times the damage. So it's very, very powerful. AA, so the Strela, yeah, I don't really agree with this, right? So this is the same argument as on Second Panzergren. These are really useful at killing infantry. They're so cheap and so effective. I really like them. I've seen people bring this one because they say it's got 5% more accuracy, and the Strelas might be useful, but you lose 3 availability and it costs 10 more points, which and the Strelas might not be useful. This is just an anti-infantry landmine. It wins fights in the forests. So you want as many of these as possible because they're broken. So you get rid of that and put this one in. And then Cubs for your long-range AA. NATO's got nothing like this because IHawks aren't self-propelled. And then the Shilka, which you probably don't need 7 of. So this has Bryusa stats, but it's called a Shilka, so it's got more accuracy, but it's got the Shilka price. So it's got 5% more accuracy than the DDR Shilka, but it's got 5 points less price than the Soviet Bryusa. So it is a good one. And yeah, you want that at 1. You really don't need 7 of these. So you want that at 1 vet. The alternative is this one, because you can get bullied by Apaches, because this gets outranged by an Apache. So that's why people like to bring this one, because it actually outranges the Apache. So I'm pretty sure I prefer to bring this one, personally. 10 points more, outrange the Apache, right? And it's faster. This can't keep up with your T-72s. It's always going to be behind. T-72s, of course, known for their incredibly fast reverse speeds. Whereas this is 40, right? And whereas this is 50, so this will be able to keep up, more or less. So I prefer this one, but hey, you do you. Helitab, so these, it fires flangers 2 per card, right? All NATO 8 HP helicopters come at 1 per card. The Cobra has 6 HP. Anyway, very effective. The Flanger used to have 16 pen, then that went up to 20 because Pack doesn't have bad equipment. And then this can be useful at the start, I guess. I mean, I'd be up vetting this, really. You don't need that many of these. They're not that useful. The Malyutka M is not the Malyutka P. It deals 16 pen, right? Yeah, if you want the autocannon and stuff, I'd be double vetting that. It does make it a lot better, actually. Like, look at what's happening to the accuracy there. That's because this is the chance of it hitting once in a salvo, which is obviously a ridiculous way to represent accuracy, but hey, what can you do? And then air tab, so these are 4 per card, unlike the Harrier, which is 3 per card. And yeah, so this one is supposedly better against planes, but it can't shoot helicopters. Whereas this one, it can shoot helicopters. So you bring these against helicopters, and you get 4 of them, so you can just chuck them at enemy helicopters every time you see them. If you see a plane, generally you want to hide behind your Cubs, and if they get too close, then you can chuck these out at them, because they are super fast. They do die in 1 hit to IHawks. And then, so this is the great trade-off here. So he's gone for the MiG-21s, so these die in 1 hit to IHawks. So I actually prefer the other ones. I prefer the rocket one, because this is still 3 per card, right? So for 30 points more, you get 2 Sidewinder missiles, you get 20% ECM, you get better guns, and you get 2 more HP. And I believe it turns better. So it is a bit slower, but, So I vastly prefer this for your 30 points more even. And then, so this, obviously can't kill tanks at all. So I prefer this one so I can kill enemy heavy tanks, right? Something that your T-72s can't deal with, you just bring this. So I think he's gone for the wrong planes there. So that's it for the deck reviews. Then we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so with that out of the way, let's talk a bit about the map. So I prefer being on the red side because basically you can just come sit in here very easily you can get into the edge of this zone, which is massive, by the way. And you can just sit behind these houses and in this forest, and then you could just have a CV in here for the whole game. And for blue to try and push across this is quite hard, because you could put guys back here, which means he's not coming this way. And then there's a big open field here, and you've got this, so he's not coming this way. You could shoot him here, so he can't come, this way. And then you put somebody back here, so he's or here is probably better. So he's not coming this way either. And then you've got somebody here, so he's not coming this way. So it's very difficult for blue to push him out. Basically, you got to like smoke this and then run up here and kill the guys, right? Or you could just like, yeah, smoke here, and then you can run down this way. So yeah, I prefer being on the red side. Also, yeah, attacking Alpha and attacking Delta seems roughly the same, to tell you the truth. Attacking Alpha can be a bit easier because, there's not a massive open field here. Right, you see attacking Delta is not great. There's a massive open field here, but once you take Delta, it gets kind of, if you take Delta, it gets kind of hard for red to get back in because of the river. The same is true of Alpha as well, actually. Yeah, but the bridge here is a bit closer to where you get in. It's not that different, really, but yeah, anyway. The other thing is that if you do get up to here as red, like you don't even have to get up to Alpha, you get up to here, and then you start coming across these bridges. Well, not this bridge, you should have that anyway. You could start trying to come across this bridge. It can work, like this bridge as well. So if blue doesn't have a blocking unit here and a blocking unit here, you can very quickly get over here. Right, once you're over here, you get over to this, then you shoot them coming across the bridge, and then you can starve out Alpha pretty easily. You can also bring it down here and stop them from just getting into Gulf, so I do prefer the red side. In terms of the matchup, both of these divs are very meta. Second Panzergren, very meta. 20th Polish, very meta. Basically, divs that are strong in 1v1 have like a little bit of forward deployed, so that you're not behind on the opener, and then just basically infinite everything, and both of those divs have that. So on this map, I think the T-72s are more well, I think the 20th Polish is more useful because the T-72s are really good around these kind of low sight lines, whereas the Leopard 2s tend to get side-shot by Honkers, whatever. And also the Coffin Launcher, which is a mine-clearing device that you can fire from like behind walls. So if there's somebody here, you can fire from behind the wall and kill this guy or whatever. So yeah, let's talk about the deployment. So we've got Berthags here, and he's deploying his Honkereses. They're at the wrong veterancy. I did talk about this in the deck review. So he's deploying them extremely unaggressively. I'm trying to find the right defensively. It's a very defensive Honker deployment. The Honkers are faster than regular forward deployed if they're at max vet, but he's chosen to bring them at 2 vet. So like if this was at max vet, he could actually try getting to here before blue gets in, and I'm pretty sure he'd make it. It'd be very close, and he could definitely get down to here, right? And he could definitely get to here before blue does if they were at max vet, but he hasn't done that. So he's taken very defensive positions, which is a shame, really. And then behind that, we've got 2 Strellas. I mean, you're not going to hit anything from back here. Like, the recon going here as well is really strange. Like, this is the building anyway, but the recon should at least be going to here. Because if you're back here, you can't see, like, what's in this building, for example, and so on. And so, yeah, 2 Strellas coming all the way back here. An Unspeakable also coming back here. This is a very strange deployment. Sappers with the Reeses going to here. And typically you want it up here really and hold this. Sappers going, what? You'd think he wouldn't have over 4,000 games, but he does, so I'm not sure what he's doing. Where's this going? Okay, down here. And then 2 T-72s, so the backbone of the push, and they're taking very, very defensive postures. I mean, maybe he's just going to repath everything, and each T-72 gets its own shulker, apparently. So no cubs. Typically, you'd want 1 cub, 1 shulker, because the cub deals 9 damage, the shulker deals 1 damage. That's the advantage of the Shilka over the Strela 10M. That one damage is much more guaranteed than the Strela 10M, which might just miss twice. And then 1 CV for Foxtrot Echo. Then we've got 1 CV for Bravo Delta, except he's missed out Bravo. Hopefully notices 2 of the Exceptional Optics BRDM1s, or BWR1Ds apparently. Backed up by 2 Malyutkas, so no infantry coming over here, and then a Salamandra with the Malyutka, which, you know, it might miss, but do you take the chances if you're blue, right? And the autocannon, which tends not to miss, although he's brought it at 1 vet, so it might do. So that's a very, very interesting deployment. Switching to his opponent's deployment, we've got 2nd Panzergren, and he's been much more aggressive. So we've got a Milan 2 going to this building, forward deployed, and a FS Jäger Aufklärer going to here. So we'll see if he gets there before the enemy does. Well, he should do, because, yeah, there's no Honkers coming down here. FS Jäger Aufklärer going to this building. And then behind that, we've got Panzer Grenadier trying to come over here. Okay. And then 3 Marder 1A3 Milans. 1's going to Delta. 1's going to Hotel. And typically you'd want to unload this here, because then the Milan can shoot down this road, and it's in trees. But you can always unload it here and then reverse it, or even move it up. I think these are classed as trees as well. Another Marder 1A3 dismounting here, and then a CV for Golf Hotel. And then a CV for Charlie Alpha, and this is going through the zone. On the right, we've got a Milan 2, which is actually coming to the middle. FS Jäger Aufklärer coming to the middle, FS Jäger Aufklärer going down here, and then 2 Lux. So we'll see what happens. I mean, so that there's no, like, so basically the Honkers should be at max vet. This Honker should be coming down to here at the bare minimum. But yeah, you can also try and attack here if you want to attack here at the start. But yeah, here at the bare minimum. You know, this Honker, like, there's fine, I guess, but you can get to this first. And then coming over here doesn't make much sense. This should be up here, and there should be a 4th Honker coming to here. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. Right, so they're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. Get the names on the screen, get the videos early, get members exclusive videos. 1 join at the lowest level is worth 2,000 views, so if you're feeling bad about your ad blocker, it's a great way to support the channel. Currently unemployed, this is my sole source of income, and I am very grateful for your generosity. If you want to improve at the game, if you get the Tier 4 channel membership, you can submit your games to be cast at a rate of 1 per calendar month. So 2 casts guaranteed unless you sign up on the 1st, which somebody did do actually. Because, you know, the membership would go over 2 months unless you sign up on the 1st, in which case, no, it wouldn't. So yeah, get your games cast. Get lambasted in front of 2,000 people. What's not to like, right? So these 2 jets, I mean, so when you're playing 2nd Panzergren and you want to do a forward deployment, you do need a jet. Otherwise, the enemy will just kill all your forward deployed stuff with helicopters. So I think this is very sensible, but it does weaken your deployment. What I will say is that yeah, the reason you bring 2 is because people expect you to bring 1 jet, so they might bring 2, and it's this whole kind of brain game thing. So yeah, many cigarettes, I mean, you put this way too far away, but the Honkers managed to slip through, so this is part of it. Because they're so fast, they don't go at 75, they go way faster, because of the exceptional optics. They are very powerful. So this isn't quite in rocket launcher range. And with it being special forces, it is powerful. Yeah, you should use the F-16s to shoot the Honker because it's just a thin-skinned vehicle. So down it goes, down it goes. Over here, the FS Jäger Aufklärer did actually get here before the BWR, which is pretty huge. And this guy got here as well, but that's unloading quite conservatively. These men have smoked and then pushed, and now I think the Malyutka P is going to kill him. So this would one-shot 3 armor. Even if it was 16, it would one-shot these. So he's lost 1 there. So yeah, just... I don't know, I mean, the looks I don't really rate too highly, because you can get unlucky, but there you go, it worked. And so now his Panzer Grenadiers are coming in. He needs to reinforce this as fast as possible. So he's bought 2 Leopard 1s. I mean, I'd get a Pioneer, an FS Jäger, and like a Gepard or something over here. I mean, he's got the fighters, but the fighters just ran out of fuel. Of course, the NATO planes have 140-second autonomy, whereas the packed ones all have 240. Pycho Zedmec did go down there, and yeah, Berthags' CV never went into Bravo, and now it's dead, so now he's had to buy another one. I mean, I'll show you his stats at the end. He's had over 4,000 games of Warno, and that got reset for everybody at one point, so it's more like 6 to 8,000. So I don't know, he must be tired or something. But look at the flags; they're both, you know, do come from a land down under people. Although, you know, it could be New Zealand or Australia. We don't want to upset them because they're very, very, very different. They are. Oh, yeah, they are. They are. Australians have a nice pastime of going to New Zealand and shooting up places of religious worship. And also Steve Irwin. Those are the only two things I know about Australia. So Milan 2 goes down there. There's no Eyehawk here. Eyehawk's very useful against a guy who only has MiG-21s in his deck. But, you know, Blue isn't to know that yet. So, yeah, Blue's managed to get in here, but no CV yet, and the BWR is going to be a problem. And actually, you know, Seb's pushing here as well. So, only having 2 HP, you got to be careful. There were 2 T-72s. One of them has disappeared. Probably got shot by that Milan, and that's how we found out about it. And the Marder 1A3 will kill the Scots. So this, even if this has 5 armor, so this would need 19 armor to one-shot it. So he's more than happy to just let that shoot him. And with the low accuracy, you know, and take the chances. So this is the 3rd jet we've seen Seb buy. So and then you just got so he just got a crit there, pretty unlucky crit. And he didn't kill the Salamandra. But yeah, this can survive a hit, so you don't have to worry. And I get the impression that he's definitely noticing that, as opposed to just not paying any attention at all. So yeah, if you're Blue, attacking up here is actually kind of difficult. Basically, you want to try and take this, which is not easy to do. The Malyutka P sort of fallen back, and the BW, like, these should be up here, really, because this isn't doing anything at all. So you want to move the BWR up to here, and then the Malyutka P up to here, right? Up to here, so you can shoot down. Obviously, then the enemy shoots back, right? So it's not as easy as all that, so maybe that's why he's saving it. This guy's not really being microed, so he's going to die. Just keep in mind that these Saperzi have Komars, so you can't just drive the Marder 1A3 Milan in. Bopar dodges the Strozala, which is Polish for washing line. No, that's Zilka. I think that's Zilka. And yeah, this is like just a crazy position, basically. It doesn't make too much sense. Putting 4 guys in one building is never really a good idea. And if you're Blue, you know, you want to get an Eyehawk on the field as fast as possible here. But he's gone for the 3 fighters instead, which can work. And that went down to, presumably, the unspeakable one. Yeah. Or it might have been the T... No, he's not fired. So that was many F-16 shots. And, you know, this is... Is it on low altitude? Yeah, it is. So that's why you can't see it, because it's on low altitude. It does make him harder to spot, I believe. So Svillinger's in the town, yeah. So these are huge at winning town fights. It's pretty stupid, actually. You do have to unload them before the enemy shoots a reset the vehicle and blows it up, though. Yeah. And now you're on fire, so you can't unload. I don't watch these games beforehand. I just play the game, so I understand what's going to happen. I get it right most of the time. Yeah, it's all just practice in the end. So Malyutka P is now getting shots off on the Marder, but yeah, the Marder survives this because it's got 5 armor. That's a big deal with the Marder. Now the Leopard 1 is free to counter. F-16 should stay up here, yeah. What you can do is like evac 1, so that it gets its missiles back. But then the enemy might try and burst you down with fighters. But yeah, this is just not going well for Berthags at all. What I will say is that Seb massively overextended here, which was not a good idea. And now, if Berthags just walked forwards, you know, he could get in here, really. Once he gets to here, he'll start shooting this. And that probably won't live very long. There's literally no infantry here, so... And Seb, he's not reinforcing it. So there is a comeback opportunity here for Berthags. But yeah, so far, not going great for him. And look at the Zwillingers just winning the fights, presumably. I mean, we weren't really looking. So yeah, Pioneer, Panzer Grenadier. I do think 1 FS Jaeger just for killing the vehicles in the town, but whatever. And yeah, you want to be in the... Yeah, he's going for the building now. You see them both throw their satchels at each other. 50 points for 10 men. 55 for 9. The advantage of this is that it's got the RPG, right? And there, BWP gets in the zone, so Panzer Grenadier should come up here, sort him out. And yeah, he needs some AA. I suppose the Zwillinger is the AA, but, you know, that's going to take a long time to get over here. So T-72 coming this way, and oh no, so he's been caught out there, and the Strela hits him. Even if it didn't, the Cubs were going to get at least 2 more shots off, 1 each. And yeah, Leopard 1, not so great against T-72. The advantage, of course, is that the T-72 goes backwards just as fast as the Leopard 1 goes forwards, so that's not really an advantage. I thought the Leopard 1 would be a bit faster, actually. T-72s are very, very strong. And so Tornado Seed purchase now, so that's exciting. And sadly it hits the Shilka twice. The Cubs have been switched off, but Shilka's still switched on. So yeah, you need to evac this now because 1 Cub hit would kill it. And so you can't really afford to take that chance. He knows this Cub's about. Shilka is just not... What? Just very narrow firing angle there. Cub micro is there, so now the Cubs are going to shoot. 2 max range Cubs. And they do miss. I mean, it's got 40% ECM. Anyway, Unimog goes down to T. So this is the issue with trying to once you take Delta, it's kind of hard to reinforce it because of the big open field. This was very badly microed, and now he's being messed up by MiG-21 guns. These don't have any Sidewinder missiles on them, so if he just keeps turning, he should be alright. Might be able to get behind him if he just keeps turning. But he's microing very poorly, basically, and so Berthags is beating him. But here we go, so now he's baited him out. He's baited him out now, and now he'll probably get both of them. So, you know, it was pretty ballsy play from Berthags. And, okay, alright. Right, so it gets out. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, he needs an FS Jaeger in here, really. But yeah, you can cut this off quite easily. So, that is rough if you're blue. Whereas if red gets down here, blue can try and cut off his reinforcements by crossing the bridge, which he's sort of done preemptively, right? So it's not happening. So most of the action's happening over here. Looks like Berthags really wants to take this back, and you can buy 4 of these in a minute, as we spoke about. So what it can be worth doing is trying to get a guy up to... so yeah, once they fire, they do a lot, but it's kind of hard to keep them around, right? And this would not one-shot 3 armor, so... yeah, it's got high accuracy, though. It is a nice rocket launcher. And it's mainly about the suppression these days. And yeah, that BW1's giving him a lot of trouble, which, you know, is... Okay, so that's quite an expensive item. Wow, he's going to get it, I think. Oh, no. No, he doesn't. And then that gets crit and dies. So basically, this deals 9 damage, but it has a 0.5% chance to deal a crit, which deals 1 additional damage. So that was Berthags with the massive skill there. With that, it was 45%. It got up there because it got the kill. So 45% accuracy and then 30% ECM means it's more like 20% accuracy because there's a 20% accuracy floor. It's multiplicative, not subtractive. So 20% chance to hit times by you know, 0.5%. So you know, 0.5% divided by 100 is a probability of 0.05 times by 0.2. So times by 100. That had a 0.1% chance of happening. So Berthags with the skill there. Now we see the Max Vet mortars. He's actually put a CV with them as well, so they're very... I don't know if this was like a friendly or what. I don't... so there you go. So now he's bought the other one, and this hit him again. And then... Okay, so the third one missed. I was going to say, if that hit as well, blimey. But yeah, Berthags has done a great job of cutting this off. You know, he's got the BMP one there, he's got the T-72 there, and now Seb can't really reinforce this. This is why I prefer being on the red side. But in the meantime, Seb switched it up to attacking in the middle. He does need to deal with this. I don't know if he could... Like, there's not enough recon here, really. There should be a Jaeger Aufklärer, the high HP one. So this, you see how Berthags put it behind the building so it would shoot stuff as they come past? So it's very intelligent gameplay. These guys are on return fire only, so they're not actually shooting this. But the Strelas are shooting it. But now this is shooting, so now this is shooting back. He's got low cohesion, so I don't know what's going to happen there, really. I mean, this is a nice artillery target, I suppose, but yeah, Seb investing a lot on the AA. These max vet mortars are really something, man. Anyway, so the wow, Seb, don't buy a lottery ticket, mate. Berthags should probably buy lottery. Well, I can't endorse gambling; it's against my religion. Anyway, 40% ECM gets hit by the cub. Seed missile misses the cub. I mean, and after that as well, with the 0.1% chance of happening, that'd be a good title for the video, actually. So yeah, Seb, clearly the luckiest man alive here. And yeah, Berthags still on the -4, but this isn't going to live very long, basically. He's not got 80. He's not been spotted yet. And Berthags, he's out of cheap CVs. I believe this is the last one. I mean, still alive for now. Is there another round coming? No, so it will survive. So he's still got one cheap CV, but yeah, he's been forced to buy this T-72 and get that in. So if that happens, the tick will stop. What I will say is Blue did have an advantage here, but he's attacking in the wrong place. Going from here to here is very difficult because it's a big open field and there's no buildings here, right? So what you do if you're Blue is you go from here to here. And you get somebody in here, so you shoot the reinforcements, and you take these buildings because that is a lot of cover. You can move up here. Just attacking across the open field is not fantastic at all. If you want to do that, you should focus on trying to get into this and get into this and work your way around this way. The only problem is there's a big gap here. So if you own this, you can come up this way. But yeah, basically Seb's attacking in the wrong place. He should be attacking here. Obviously there are units here, right? So I'm not endorsing attacking with 2 infantry, right? I'm just saying that these pushes here were very wasteful. They'd be better off going this way. And, you know, this position from Berthags did end up becoming useful because there was just massive attacks going on over here. So that artillery is too far away and should be moving up between salvos. Should be moving up between salvos. Also, like, he didn't have to buy this because he's got this one. But then at least one of these, Shift F, click on your CV, click on your artillery, and your artillery will then move faster. So yeah, if you're Blue, you also want to sort this out. Okay, so he's getting somebody up there. And here you go. So this man is not long for this world, clearly. He does have smoke, so he can try and survive a bit. He's hiding behind a building. Berthags being very lethargic with clearing him out. He does have helicopters. Why doesn't he send a recon helo? Which he does have. He's not doing that. This is not on return fire, so it will open up on those. It was probably going to get spotted anyway, but... And yeah, so what you do if you're Seb in this case is you hide this behind here, turn off cover, and you hide this behind here, turn off cover. Coming over here is probably not so smart because now you're dead. And down he goes. And now he's got a big problem actually because he's overextended. Red. The Polish div doesn't run out of stuff. Neither does 2nd Panzergren really. So yeah, this guy goes down. He never popped his smoke, so that could have been, you know, just pop your smoke. You'll live a bit longer. Start running around in all the smoke. That's why you've got the smoke. So that's a shame. And yeah, Seb's still obsessed with attacking here, the hardest place to attack. And yeah, if he doesn't reinforce this, I'm getting a bit worried now. Like, if obviously Berthags doesn't have perfect vision, but he's getting 2 recon healers, so he will start noticing. And all... oh, this is smoke. Very exciting. So Berthags, he is coming down here. Recon helo goes down. Leopard 1s do lose to T-72s at close range. They lose to T-55s at close range. It's more of like a long-range sniper tank. So on this map, it's very useful to have the T-55s, the T-72s. So here we go. Sapper's coming down here now. This will get a shot off. And at that range, it should hit, really. But look, it's aligning. And you see that these wings... That's how it can aim. So you see it's not actually shooting. So that's a big shame. Oh, it'll probably get this guy. Right, yeah, because at that range... Because the accuracy scales with range. And look at the max range. So that's going to be very high range. But yeah, Seb needs to sort this out, really. So what he could do is, you know, bring... So he's got a guy here to cover this, right? Leave that guy here. Bring this guy over here so you can see. And then bring this guy down here so you can shoot. But he really wants to attack here, which is just not good. It doesn't make any sense. This is so when you buy a unit, click up here, click the unit, click Y on your keyboard. Y stands for why didn't you already know this? And then click on the screen, and then they will unload once they get to their position. And he doesn't seem to know about this. It's amazing how many people don't know about that. I did make a video, but, you know, not everybody sees every video, and it was a long time ago. So these max vet mortars are great for smoking fast because of how fast they shoot, but he sold the transports, and there is an arty piece here, so why aren't these exploding? Why aren't these exploding? So Seb with the CV. Okay. And yeah, Pychota Zmech coming in here. That'll probably kill that Marder 1A3. This isn't... So he's actually got auto cover turned off by default. That's interesting. I prefer having it on by default, so people prefer having it off by default. There's a lot of cases where having it on isn't great, but I've just got it hotkeyed. And yeah, so Berthags takes Golf, and the Iltis better start running. BMP2 spam on the go. And so if you... Well, I don't know, if you Berthags, I mean, typically the next step would be to get over here and start shooting guys over here, and get over here and start shooting guys over here, but he's got this problem, so he can't really afford to invest too much into this. So that's a 2 Vet Leopard 1A5, and at that range, yes, it's going to hit. Sorry, yes, it's going to one-shot. If it missed out, we would have laughed. I mean, it's got very high accuracy, and it scales with range, etc. Right, so BMP2's coming over here. These thin-skin transports, not so useful. Some of these Marders could be repurposed, right? Like this should be healed up, and so on. So, yeah, he loses somebody in the transport. 1 Leopard 1 will lose to 1 T-72. Oh, it misses! It misses! Blimey, that would have been a side shot as well, so there you go. So much for accuracy, etc. Harrier, it's got a big payload, that, so it does kill the BMP-2, but he loses the Leopard 1. So yeah, Berthags on the ascendant here. He's sorting this out, right? This has got nowhere to hide because it's just not the right place to attack, and now it's just stopped. I mean, if he kept going, he might have made it, but now he's definitely dead. So yeah, not looking great for Seb at all. I guess he just sort of... Like, so this happens a lot. People just kind of figure, oh, well, I've won, basically. And then, you know... So that was off cooldown from before. That's not a new purchase, so that's fair enough. He's trying to sneak this back into Delta, which is a terrible idea, because... So if somebody pushes you out of here, you've got to assume that he's just left all his guys in there. So it's not great to attack there again. But there's no zone here, right? There's no zone here, there's no zone here, which is a shame, really. I think a +1 here, right? +1 back here. I think that would be cool. So CV's down, so Berthags is going to be on the +2 now. And once this gets up, he'll take this. So yeah, oh, it's not looking great for Seb, I got to tell you. It was looking really good, but then he threw. Many such cases, I'm afraid. But yeah, this is Berthags' experience showing, right? The number of games played, I think, is a lot higher. And here are the MiG-21s, which you send out to kill the helicopters, as we spoke about in the deck review. But yeah, it tends to be a one-way trip. He didn't even get this one because it landed in time. So the Marder 1A3s do manage to push it all back. T-72 still here. Oh, this one. So this came across from here, so that's great. Did miss, but you know, he's shooting the enemy in the back. And so Berthags, he's got to run. So T-72 should really win this fight, yeah. Obviously that was only on 1 HP anyway, but... And oh wow, this one survived as well. Okay, interesting. This is not firing, which is a big shame. And this is the one from before when it got artied. Wow, so 2 Leopard 1s hitting that. And it got a crit, and it still survived. Very exciting, very exciting. These two cost as much as this one, by the way. Very, very... Too cost-efficient, these T-72s, basically. So the Beaupart's trying to kill this, not really succeeding. Needs a recon healer, which he doesn't have in his deck, which you already knew from the deck review, right? And yeah, it's always a shame to buy artillery and then not use it. It is a big shame. This has auto cannons, but it's only got 4 HP, and there's a lot of people shooting it, so down it goes. And yeah, Berthags managed to sneak in here. Well, I say sneak, he just sort of killed everybody. So yeah, typically you'd want to hide this behind some buildings instead of just there. But And yeah, just more guys not unloading. So it is interesting. Yeah, you click up here, right, and look at none of these have been given unload commands either. So that's going to die for that. It wasn't really worth it, especially... Oh, it's out of ammo. Okay. So here are the mortars for the smoke. This artillery should be going straight on that. And if you can't see them, just press counter battery. I'm pretty sure it does work for mortars. I might be wrong, actually, because it's taken from SD2. But look, they're firing again. So yeah, you should have this hotkeyed, and you'll have smoke. Where's it coming from? Ah, there it is. There it is. Because, yeah, look how fast they fire with that that veterancy. You had a CV with them before as well, so... It's pretty crazy. The Harriers do die in one hit to Cubs. Cub almost gets him there. And, yeah. Seb with the lack of knowledge on how to unload units after buying them. It's just it's very interesting, actually. I guess I should probably just re-release the video because my community, our community, it's happening already. I'm becoming like all the other ones where my head just gets bigger and bigger, and then somebody's got to put a bullet in it when I become too insufferable. So this is very exciting. Very ballsy play there. I mean, really. What was I saying? Yeah, our community has grown much greater, much bigger. Wow, so it does actually get in here. Okay. I mean, what? Why are there two? Why isn't one of these here? You know, he should have probably seen that coming past. So if it went down this way, two together. No, this just in the middle of nowhere. Just I don't know. It's a bit weird. Pioneers running towards T-72. I don't know. These, do you even call them? Oceanics? Australasians? Australasians might be it, yeah. But yeah, none of this has AT. And he's just running out the zone now, which, I mean, where are you going? You're not getting out of there, mate. You should run further into the zone and... What? Oh, this is on defensive. So when it got shot, it just automatically ran away and popped smoke. That's what's happening there. So that's the joy of defensive. So double Harrier? Nice. Wow! What? That's one hell of a bomb. One of those must have hit over here somehow, or it might have been the guns or something. Incredible. Anyway, the Harriers, he sent them both out at once, so the Cubs could only hit one. I thought he did have seed, I'm not sure. Oh no, it died, right? I know one of them got critted. Anyway, so he's noticed his mistake now, so now he's trying to run back in. And now he's very dead. This is a CV snipe for the ages. Look at that CV snipe there. Yeah, what to say. That's why I don't have my guys on defensive. So what defensive does is if your unit gets shot by something it can't see, it will automatically pop smoke and reverse or run away in that case. Which can be useful if you don't pay a lot of attention. But then I don't like it because then I go to use my unit. See, look, so this, because of the payload, it can actually, because the T-72 has 3 top armor, unlike every other medium in the game, which gets 2. It used to have 2, but then it got buffed up to 3. But we're not going to talk about that. So, yeah, I mean... Yeah, not going great for blue, is it, really? But either way, you know, he did manage to... Because with the 3 top armor, he actually did manage to kill it. It had lost a HP, and then this shot at the same time, so... You know, etc. So Tornado's getting routed by the Cubs. That's another big advantage of the Cub, because even though their accuracy is low, they'll still rout with 2 missiles, basically. And, oh, great! Oh, yeah, oh, wonderful. Now I've got this bug. Okay, so I'm just going to have my left mouse button clicked down for the rest of the game in this corner. But now I can't... Yeah. Incredible. Okay, that fixed it. So I guess he lost vision there because it's hiding behind a tree. But yeah, Berthags on the +1, and really it's looking extremely bad for Seb. It was just these attacks here. These attacks here were really daft, and then the artillery just didn't use it after buying it, which is a big investment. But yeah, attacking from here to here is just not smart. And then the artillery never took out the smoke mortars, and the smoke mortars, Berthags got a lot of value out of those. his organic AA is like he never had an Eyehawk against all these MiG-21s. One Eyehawk would be just one-shotting these constantly because it's got the same damage as the Cub, but it's got like 20% more accuracy. Or, well, 15%, I think. I think it's default 50. Might be default 55. But he's been relying on his fighters, and then he got very bad fighter RNG. You see that crit taking off an extra damage there, and now he's trying to avoid the Cubs, so just get that MiG-21. Oh, here we go, it's firing. Not sure where it went. Was there something there? Or was that where the plane landed? Anyway, Leopard 2's engaging with their MG3s. These are way too close, really. Way too close. Not sure what this guy's still doing. He's trying to strafe this. It's only got 1 HP, so that's fair enough, really. And then, yeah, typically you'd want the seed out with the Harrier. So it gets another T-72. It's probably going to die now, yeah. The seed went on the MiG-21, so it didn't actually shoot these. Did get the MiG-21, though. And the Tornado just evacs it, even though it's still got a Ligma. Has he got it on auto evac, maybe? He might do. Because once it'll run out of these, it'll just evac, so... Yeah, interesting ROE settings. So I personally don't have defensive on. I do have auto cover on. And that might be a bit of a contradiction, really. Because they both do things that you might not want things to do. There you go, it picks that up. But yeah, I don't have auto evac Winchester on. So yeah, it's not looking great for blue. Although he's managed to get back across. Oh wow, okay, so the CV was just hanging out here. I thought it was behind this. Berthags probably did too. So down it goes, and that's gonna slow the tick down to a +1. This guy's still just hanging out. This does have Ligmas on it. But yeah, if he flies over the Zwillingers enough, they will kill him. But yeah, it's really strange to just never have seen an Eyehawk against all these MiG-21s. Like, even if you just put it up here, you know, when you're attacking here, you buy one and you put it up here, and it'll help you there, and it'll help you here. Or you can just have it here, right? This is the typical place. Obviously, you know, at the start of the game, right? So, Seb swapped into the Leopard 2s now, because those can actually fight the T-72s. And Berthags, I think, invested a little bit too heavily on planes, because now he's got nothing on the ground. And now he's bought a Dana. Absolutely bizarre purchase at this point, because he's so thin on the ground here. He's so thin on the ground here, and now he's just spent, you know, just over... Like, this should cost a lot more, really. He spent a lot of income on that Dana, and that... Right? What? I wonder what time this game was played at. But, I mean, they're both in the same time, presumably. Both in the same time zone. Anyway, Cubs were left on. Seed hit this time. And then the Strelas missed him. And this one, because it's behind a building, it's not actually shooting. Which is probably why this thing didn't shoot at it as well. And, yeah, still +1 to Berthags. But at a +1, so that would be 9 times 60, which is 540 quick maths. Divided by 33%, should be more closer to, like, you know, 300, 400, so 300 points. So I think if he stays on a +1, I think he will lose. I think he needs a +2. I mean, he just needs another CV and hit. The question is, does he have one? Does he have any more C? Because we know, so he's lost the last of it. So he had 3 +2 +2. We saw a T-72 CV die around here. A T-72 CV definitely died around here somewhere. And we saw all 3 of the small ones die. Because I pointed out the last one, which just exploded back here. So this is either his last CV or his penultimate CV. So he's got to be very, very, very careful with these CVs. Because he might just die. So, I mean, what's happening now? You'd expect people to be buying infantry. So, like, I don't know if he's run out of BMP-1s or something. I banged my desk, and now my audio's all messed up. This is not good. It's all crackly now. I'm very unhappy about this. Oh, well, you know, it happens. You know, sometimes you bang your desk and... Oh, well. I was trying to reinsert the cables. Maybe that would help, but no, it's not. Anyway... Right, so another one's down there. I get... Oh, yeah, I remember now. He only had 2 cars of BMP-1s because he brought the infantry ATGMs. Spoke about that in the deck review as well. So I'm getting the impression he's running out of infantry. I mean, the two Dana purchases are really weird. Like, he should instead be flooding this with people so that this doesn't die. I'm trying to move back up here, right, and maybe buying another cub. And maybe switch it off the cub. Maybe switch it off the cub. Okay, well, this is really bad news for him now, although just Strela hitting that is pretty funny, actually. It's a 40% accuracy, 40% ECM, so... It did fly right over it, so the accuracy would be quite high. So, yeah, I mean, that is also an interesting attack. Might make it, actually. No, this should shoot it, right? Okay, so he has stopped. Yeah, so you can hide it in these trees, maybe, because it's got mediocre stealth. Which is interesting, that it's got mediocre stealth. Like, shouldn't it be... Well, I don't know. Yeah, so he's got loads of planes, and there's no cubs left. Because, I mean, there's one all the way back here, which is a bit weird. That could be moved up. So this will not one-shot that, and it misses anyway, and then the two Strelas both hit it. Please tell me he's going on the Strelas. No, he went on the tank. Although the tank is an important kill. Mida 1A3 Milan there sadly died before we got to see the coffin launcher hit it, which would have been fun. These are really useful. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that on this map. And here we go. So Sebi's buying the infantry. He's not unloading the infantry as soon as it arrives, because I don't think he knows how. So just to re-explain that for people, because look, he's losing guys in the transports. You click up here, you click your unit, you click Y, and then you click on the map, alright? And then you'll unload at position. Oh my gosh, and he's... What? What is this, man? At least unload him, right? So the Danas finally shoot about 3 minutes after they were purchased. Typically you buy an arty piece if you have something to shoot at immediately. As soon as it spawns you should fire, and then you shift queue up a move order so that they can move while reloading. Although Seb is obliging him by just driving into the rounds. He does have some supply though. Yeah, what can I say? Still +1 to Berthags, but I think he needs more or he'll lose the game. I'm getting that impression. And he's only got 1 CV left, so what does he do? He needs to... At least I assume that's his last hit, otherwise he'd buy another one, right? I mean, he was very frivolous with them around here. And Blue's done a good job of sniping CVs, to tell you the truth. He's been doing a lot of that. He's bought his RT now. I mean, this is now going to shoot something. Alright. I mean, he'd know if there was somebody there because this would have seen it. So, unless it was in the trees. So there we go, more RT rounds. He's reversing the Leopard 1A5 into them. They'll be fine, I guess. Yeah. So there's no corrected shot there, I think, so it's quite sporadic. Milan 2's firing. Villinger shooting the Malyuka. Milan 2 misses, I think. This Leopard 1's in a really good spot, by the way. Because, yeah, it's just shooting guys as it goes across that... Look at that. Bam. Look at that angle. That's a really... I'm going to remember that. Anyway, HE bombers out. So he's... Basically, Berthags is trying to snipe his opponent's CVs. That's the idea. His opponent's sort of obliging him by just sitting out in the open. He should be behind buildings and stuff. And still no Eyehawks. Still no Eyehawks. MiG-21 just chilling out. Flying over everything. No Gepard. Just Villingers. Villingers terrible against planes. They're an anti-infantry device. Don't see it as an anti-air piece. It's an anti-infantry device that will kill a helicopter if the helicopter flies over it like a bozo. So, looks like Berthags saw him reverse back here. I'm not sure how he saw him. Well, yeah, I mean, he's got these looking down there. So will this die now? It's routed. And down it goes. So, yeah, Seed... The Cub was never moved up, so she did get a Shilka. It's run out of missiles now, so it shouldn't really be sticking around, because now there's 4 Shilkas. Okay, well, this is a very dead Seed. Down it goes. Yeah, get Alfredo coming up here. I mean, just having him in the vehicles like that, going through uncontested territory without any recon is really weird. But he's going to lose another T-72 there. But yeah, one gets there. It's on now. It's on the move order. So this will. Okay, it's behind the building anyway. So yeah, pretty wild game. I do wonder what time of day this was played. I get the impression both of these players are quite tired. We'll see how many games Seb's played at the end of this. Here we go. Right, so now this needs to move up. But it's not doing so. Okay, and now it's... I mean, why is it going that way? This is where the tank is. Oh dear. I don't know what to say, really. Just sort of a comedy of errors, right? Berthags just throwing all his CVs forwards and dying, and then... You know, I mean, like, what? This could have killed that easily. Now he's artillerying his own men. What the fuck is going on? Right. The game ends before anything dumber can happen. So there you go. Really interesting game. So Seb, ranked 94 with 1,181 games. Berthags, ranked 192 with 4,259 games. And they did reset this at some point. And it was up to it was several thousand before the reset. Mine was as well, right? I've played about 4,000 games, although the computer will tell you 2,000. It's because it reset it for everybody once when the game came out, I think, and they didn't. You know, there was nothing we could do about that. So yeah, lots of games played. I don't know. I mean, it was a very strange game. Get the impression that both players could have done a little bit better. But yeah, credit to Seb. He pulled it back, right? I mean, at the start it was strong, and then it looked like, well, he's just lost. Especially that 0.1% crit chance. That made me think. I was thinking a great deal. And look at that opener, right? Berthag's second kill was at 3 minutes and 17 seconds. So not a great opener for Berthags. And then he pulled it back in the mid game, right? Stormed through, and then he was just way too frivolous with his stuff, and yeah, this was that one Harrier that killed what Mr. Oh, okay, they both killed on the same thing. It was big. No, it was what? So yeah, T-72 on Gibber, and he got the unspeakable and the washing line. And yeah, I don't know if Berthags had been a bit safer with his CVs. I think he could have won. Bit more of that smoke, you know. But I mean, if Seb had, you know, Seb might have sniped the CVs anyway. So it's it is what it is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. GG.